Precision, power, and consistency. This is how military-grade 9mm ammunition is manufactured step by step. Inside this secure facility, machines run 24/7, producing over 1 million rounds every single day.
It begins with massive coils of cartridge brass, an alloy of 70% copper and 30% zinc. For the heavy core of the bullet, we use stacks of gray lead ingots, hardened with antimony.
The process starts with the primer. This tiny component is the spark that ignites the entire round.
A specialized press punches thousands of tiny cups from a thin sheet of copper alloy every minute.
Next, the explosive mixture. It is handled as a wet paste to prevent accidental detonation during loading. The wet compound is smeared into the bottom of each cup with microscopic precision. A tiny metal tripod called the anvil is pressed in. This creates the friction point for the firing pin.
Finally, the primers pass through a drying oven. Once dry, they are live and highly sensitive.
Now, the casing. A heavy industrial press punches thick, coin-sized discs from the raw brass coil.
These discs are immediately forced through a die to form a thick, shallow cup shape. The cups are too short. The drawing process stretches the metal into a long, thin tube. Tremendous hydraulic pressure elongates the walls while keeping the base thick and strong.
The drawing process leaves jagged, uneven edges. A cutter trims them to the exact 9mm height.
Next, a lathe cuts the extraction groove into the solid base of the case.
A punch pierces the flash hole in the center, connecting the primer to the main powder charge.
All this stretching makes brass brittle. We must soften the neck to prevent it from splitting.
Gas jets heat the case mouth to a glowing cherry red. This process is called annealing.
Finally, the cases are chemically washed and polished to remove all oxidation marks.
Precision tools wear out quickly. Technicians frequently replace the carbide dies to ensure micrometer accuracy.
Now, the projectile itself. Massive hydraulic presses squeeze solid lead ingots into a thick, continuous wire.
This wire is chopped into precise little cylinders called slugs, forming the heavy core of the bullet.
Pure lead fouls gun barrels. So, we manufacture a jacket made of gilding metal, a copper alloy. The lead core is dropped into the copper jacket. A die presses them together with immense force.
This process, called swagging, bonds the metals and forms the aerodynamic, pointed shape of the bullet.
A textured groove, or cannelure, is rolled into the side to help lock the bullet into the casing later. The finished projectiles are tumbled with corncob media to achieve a mirror-like shine.
Components are ready. Vibrating feeder bowls align the brass cases and bullets for the final assembly. Assembly begins. The clean brass case is inverted, and the live primer is pressed flush into the base.
A drop of colored lacquer seals the primer gap, waterproofing the round for combat conditions.
Static electricity is the enemy here. The loading room is strictly humidity controlled to prevent accidental sparks.
The cases flip right side up. A precise charge of smokeless gunpowder is dropped inside.
A laser sensor measures the powder level instantly. Too much or too little, and the machine kicks the round out.
The projectile is placed on top. A seating die presses it down to the exact required overall length.
The final step of assembly is crimping. The brass mouth is squeezed tight around the bullet to lock it in place.
Finished rounds are covered in machine oil. A final tumble-in ground walnut shells cleans and polishes them perfectly. The result is a completed 9mm cartridge, shiny, precise, and technically ready for action. Quality control is obsessive here. Every single round passes through an automated high-speed inspection array.
Lasers scan 30 different dimensions. If a round is off by a fraction of a hair, an air jet blows it into a reject bin.
Automated systems might miss cosmetic flaws. Experienced human inspectors visually check samples for dents or scratches.
The ultimate test is the firing range. Random samples are taken to the on-site underground ballistics lab.
The ammunition is loaded into a universal test receiver, a heavy steel device used for consistent accuracy testing.
High-speed cameras capture the discharge. The muzzle velocity must meet strict military specifications to pass.
Chronograph screens measure the bullet speed. It must travel at exactly 1,180 feet per second.
To check structural integrity, we fire rounds into a massive ballistic water tank to catch them softly.
The recovered bullet is inspected. The copper jacket must remain perfectly bonded to the lead core. The finished rounds accumulate in massive bins, a sea of golden brass ready for the final count.
With the ballistics test passed, the batch gets the green light and moves to the packaging hall.
Robots pick up 50 rounds at a time and place them perfectly into plastic spacing trays. The filled trays slide into branded cardboard boxes. This is the consumer package you see in stores.
For long-term military storage, rounds are packed into hermetically sealed green metal cans.
Laser printers mark every case with the lot number and date for tracking purposes. Small boxes are packed into heavy-duty wooden crates for bulk shipment and long-term storage. Pallets holding thousands of rounds are moved to the distribution bay by heavy forklifts.
From the factory floor, these critical supplies head directly to law enforcement and military units worldwide.
It takes 20 precise operations to create this single piece of engineering.
Reliable, accurate, and powerful. This is the art of ammunition manufacturing.